Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Welcome to Dev with Excel. Okay, so I'm excited to be here today again. So today we are going to be having a continuation of our code implementation on the FullStackOpen platform. All right, so let's see what we did previously. Previously, we did some exercises under this module here called course info. So we did all of the exercises here. And for this module C, component state event handlers, this only talks about what we need to know to solve the problems which will be faced with next, right? So this module C does not contain any exercises. You can check for yourself, right, when you log into the site. All right, so today our exercises are under module D, right? But before the exercises, we have a lot of notes that explains what or how we can solve exercises in this particular module D, right? So I will simply just jump into the exercises. So coming to exercise 1.6. 1.6 is step 1 for UniCafe task, right? So previously we talked about course information task, but now we are faced with UniCafe task, step 1, which is 1.6, exercise 1.6. All right, so let me go to VS Code and see, or before I go to VS Code, let's see what this exercise is talking about. So it says, like most companies, the student restaurant of the University of Helsinki, UniCafe, collects feedback from its users. Your task is to implement a web application for collecting customer feedback. There are only three options for feedback: good, neutral, and bad. The application must display the total number of collected feedback for each category. Your final application could look like this. Okay, so here we are expected to have our final implementation as something like this, right? Here where we have give feedback, then underneath we have the buttons, good, neutral, and bad. We have statistics, we have good, neutral. All right, so here is the code implementation for the main.jsx, right? So if you are using Vite to run your program should have a JSX format, right? So I think previously it has been create React app, and you are going to be seeing index.js, right? But now it's upgraded to Vite. Though you can still use a create React app, right? But it's cool for you to get along using Vite. Okay, so that's that. So this is the starter code we have for exercise 1.6, right? This is what we should have. We should have this in our main.jsx. Why here we have this in our app.jsx. So we write our code and have an output that looks like this. All right, so let's head onto the code. Okay, now this is the code. As you can see, I have my UniCafe folder here, right? I created this folder and I just copied one of the steps I had in course info, right? So I am going to be editing everything inside this app.jsx, right? So here is where we are going to be writing our code for exercise 1.6 under UniCafe. Okay, so I'll simply just remove this. Before then, let's cd into step 1 of UniCafe. So I'll simply copy the path and do cd this. So let's also do npm run dev just to be sure that our setup is very okay. Okay, so let's go to Vite and let's run on our browser. Okay, so this shows that our setup works very fine. All right, so heading to the question, let me just drag this upwards. Exercise 1.6. All right, so we are supposed to have this in our main.jsx. Let's see our main.jsx. Okay, so we have this. Then in the app.jsx, we are expected to start our code using this. So I'll simply just copy this and I'll delete everything we have here. Then paste what I just copied. All right, so at this point, our code should break. That's expected, right? Because we are yet to finish the code implementation. So it's expected that this code should break. When you come here to check, we see that we have just code here, which is a div returned here. All right, so let's move straight into the code implementation. So we are expected to have something like this. Let's begin with that. All right, so here we can see that we have three states here. We have good, neutral, and bad, and also we have the functions that update the states, which are set good, set neutral, set bad, and all of them are set to 0, right? So the states are currently set to 0, right? Okay, so what do we need to do first? What do we need to do first? Now, if you look at the output we have first here, we have give feedback. So let's see if we can return give feedback. So yeah, we could just come here, remove this code here, do this, then place in the round brackets so that we can properly return everything in our div. So inside here, I would just like that we use a h2 tag, though you can just use a p tag or a h1 tag, or I simply just use a h2 tag to return that give feedback. Okay, so let me save this code. Let's see if we have this displayed right now. All right, so we have give feedback now, right? All right, so the next thing we want to have is we want to have good, neutral, and bad buttons. Let's see how we can make that happen. How do we do that? We understand that we need to set buttons, right? Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we can just come to the next line and then creating a button tag, right? We could just say button, then we close this, then inside this button we simply just write good. Let's save this and see if we are doing the right thing. Unreachable code detected. Okay, okay, so right now we are not doing the right thing. That's because we have to place this button inside this div tag, right? So let's place it inside the div tag. So let's run this. Let's minimize this. Okay, so at this point, I think I am simply just going to leave this code this way. So we have the left side, which shows what we are rendering, and this right side, which shows exactly the code. So let me just drag this like this, and then drag this also like this. Okay, all right. So we remove this semicolon, and the next thing we want to do, we want to write the button for neutral and bad. So I'll simply just copy this into places, right here neutral, and right here bad. So when we save this, we see we have good, neutral, and bad, right? So let me expand this to see. Okay, let's see what we have on the instruction. All right, so okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to, let me scroll this up. Okay, so the next we need to do is we need to return this statistics text, right? So let's come here, then we use h2 as well. So let's use h2 for all of our text, right? So here we just say h2, then write statistics. We save this. Let's see what we have. We have statistics. All right, so our code is gradually looking like what we have here. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to have good, neutral, and bad here, each of them having their values, right? So how do we do that? How do we do that? So let's place each of them inside a p tag. So we can just come here and say p, excuse me, p, then we say good, Then we do that for both, for neutral and bad as well. So we just come here, we copy, and then we paste 2 more times. Then we give this place neutral, and then give here bad. Okay, so let's save this code and see if we have that. Okay, so here we have good, neutral, and bad as well, right? Okay, so yes, all right. So the next thing we need to do now is we need to focus on good, neutral, and bad in a way that when they are clicked, they update the values beside good, neutral, and bad here. Because as it is right now, these buttons, when we click them, nothing happens, right? So when we click on good, it's supposed to update good here by 1. The more we click on it, the more it updates good here by the number of clicks we have here. Same goes to neutral and bad. Okay, so let's go to that functionality. How do we do that? Okay, so we are going to be going to the button, right? So let's begin with the good button good, right? So this is going to accept an attribute called on click, right? Because we are trying to we are trying to set an event handler. So here we are simply going to write here on click, which is equal to a particular value. Now, this is going to accept a function or a reference to a function. So we simply use the arrow function. We do something like this. Then here we are going to write set good. Then after here, we are simply going to say good plus 1. So we save this. So this makes this button here clickable, right? It makes it clickable. And then after this is done, the value of good is going to be output beside good here. So we do something like this, right? Because good here is a state. Let's see if that works. Okay, here we have good 0. Let me click on good and see if that works. Good becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now the same thing we are going to be doing for neutral and bad, right? So let's come here. We can just come here, copy what we have here, and then place it here. Then we change set good to set neutral. Then change good here to neutral. The same thing we also do here. We paste that, and then we change this set good to set bad, and then we change this good to bad. Right? So we come here, and then here we write neutral. Then we close that curly brace, and then come here and write bad, and we close the curly brace, right? Okay, so let's save this and see if that works. Now we have good. Good is now 6. Neutral. Neutral is 2. Bad. Bad is 1. Okay, so that's exactly what we have here, right? So let's see if we've been able to solve everything expected of us for exercise 1.6. Okay, yes. So with this, I think we've come to the end of the implementation for exercise 1.6. And in the next video, we are going to be talking about exercise 1.7. Till then, see you in the next video. Bye.